Hello everybody, it's Final Rich here with a quick video. It's under the radar. This is a video that FlipsideCT made about a week or so ago. I thought it was a pretty good idea, so I'm going to make a response video to FlipsideCT. I think what prompted him to make it is he goes to a lot of record shows, and he said he sees a lot of the younger people buying albums, but he said the thing that kind of discourages him, or he noticed, he didn't say discouraged, that he notices, they're buying, the real obvious choices, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the basics. And actually, someone that's just getting into music, I really don't have a problem with that, or somebody that's just getting into vinyl. That's a good place to start, build a foundation, get the essentials, and then you can start getting the obscure stuff. The thing that I think, it doesn't bother me. You can buy whatever you want, I don't give a shit. But the thing that I think is really weird is when people buy, oh, this is my 10th version of A Hard Day's Night. It's like, it's pointless to me. Especially when you hear some of these guys saying, oh, there's been no good music since 1985. And how would you know, You keep buying the same fucking records over and over and over. But anyways, these are my flying under the radar albums or bands. First one is Los Secos. I believe they're from Peru. Look like, you can tell they were influenced by the Beatles. And that's what my wife said. She goes, are those guys trying to be the Beatles? The Beatles had a big impact. As soon as they came out, man, they blew up. There were bands everywhere sprouting up. But anyways, these guys sound like the Sonics. And it's not like they're copying the Sonics. All these songs are from 1965. And you could argue that this is actually the first garage band. At least one of them. And they're complete recordings. It's 6 singles is what it is, the A and B side. The last 2 songs are from '66. But for the most part, this is all 1965. If you're into garage rock, check out Los Secos. Really cool stuff. Let me get my record straightened out here. The next one, I'm picking this one because this flew under my radar. Damn, I'm uncomfortable here. The Troggs. I knew the song Wild Thing. But yeah, this band is one that flew under my radar. Fantastic stuff. 60s British band, and it's like it's a British garage rock band, which is quite unusual. But yeah, check out the Troggs. Really good band. Now my third and last 60s one is one that was shown, and this is the Sir Douglas Quintet, Mendocino, and She's About a Mover are the 2 big hits off of this. But this is full of really great stuff. Band from Austin, Texas, I believe. Just great stuff. If you can find this album, pick it up. If not, a Greatest Hits I think would do. But check out Sir Douglas Quintet. It's a band that doesn't really get mentioned when everybody's talking about 60s stuff. Now, when FlipsideCT made his video, the first band, and actually this album is the one that came to my mind, and it's Faces, A Nod Is As Good As a Wink to a Blind Horse. It's Rod Stewart on vocals, Ron Wood on guitar. I hear a lot of people say, oh, I don't like Rod Stewart. Well, I don't know if you may not be familiar with his 60s output with the Jeff Beck group, his output with the Faces. I think they had 4 studio albums, 1 live, all good. And I think it's safe to say his first 4 solo albums are fantastic. What's sad is they did make a greatest hits from his first 4 solo albums, and that is really not they didn't pick very good songs to put on that comp. But yeah, this is a great album. The Rolling Stones, Sticky Fingers, and Exile on Main Street get a lot of love, and this album is just as good and just as rocking as that. It is a solid album. Side 1, I think, is a perfect side. And that's a video that I'm planning on making in the future, you know. Perfect sides. Now, these next two are 80s. And it's kind of directed towards heavy metal people. I don't know how many heavy metal people actually watch my videos. But it's an 85, an album that came out in 85 and an album that came out in 86. Now, the new wave of British heavy metal was something that passed me by. I wasn't really aware of it. It was a movement that coincided with the punk movement. It got no press in the U.S. I became aware of the thrash bands and that in the 80s because they're basically very heavily influenced by the punk. But this is a band here that I think the heavy metal people, and I've talked about both of these bands. The English Dogs, if you're into heavy metal, you'll dig this. Scott Waters is making a series of videos, hard and heavy, and he's picking their best albums from, you know, every year. And I think this is a harder and heavier album than probably 99% of what he shows. English Dogs, this is the one to get though. Forward into Battle. Fantastic. I mean, look at that band, dude. They kick ass. And the other one is a Southern California band, Dr. No. And if you're into heavy metal, this is the one to get. This Island Earth. Yeah, this Island Earth. Fantastic stuff. For my metalheads out there. Now, this next one is from the 90s. And what's weird, I would say it's kind of safe to say this is my favorite band from the 90s. And I noticed, it seems like each decade, I mean, it's hard to say what's your best band from a certain decade. And actually, decades, it's an arbitrary measurement. But it's kind of weird. It seems like my favorite bands always start with the letter B, you know? I mean, I like a lot of bands, but my favorite band from the 60s is definitely the Beatles. The 70s, I love a lot of stuff from the 70s, but Bowie's my favorite. The 80s, again, I like a lot of stuff, but my favorite's Black Flag, Butthole Surfers, and the Beastie Boys. And I think it's safe to say this is probably my favorite band, and I think they're the best band from the 90s. And it's the Brian Jonestown Massacre. I don't own any of their albums on vinyl, so I'm showing this 12-inch. I have all their 90s albums on CD. You cannot go wrong with this band. Their 90s output, just absolutely fantastic. I said it before, they're the best 60s band that was not from the 60s. And last but not least, I'm going to show a current band. But I think any current band could probably fall under the radar because people just aren't buying new music like they used to. But this is the band I'm picking, La Luz. This is it's a live. They do have another album that came out after this one, and I think it's actually a better album, but I don't own it yet. But yeah, this is a really cool band. 4 females. They're from Portland, I believe. Maybe Seattle, up there. Great vocals, great vocal harmonies, great surf guitar. The drummer and bass player are fantastic. Got keyboards. It's just a really good blend of surf guitar and everything else. Good music. Anyways, that's it for me. Take care, everybody, and have a good Christmas. Happy holidays.